boys and girls, Miss Dawkin here for our last science video of the year. So to wrap up science right now, we are going to talk about some different objects in the sky, and we're going to talk about the different seasons. So first we're going to start with objects in the sky. So at night you might go out into the outside and you might look up and see some stars, and you might see the moon. Sometimes you might also be able to see the moon during the day. Now if you notice, when you go outside on different days, the moon might look different. Sometimes it looks like just a little sliver. Sometimes you can see half of the moon, and sometimes you can see the whole moon. So we're going to talk about, why does the moon seem to change? Is it actually changing shape? Why does it look different? So the moon is lit by the sun. So it's like if I have a flashlight and I shine it. So the sun is the flashlight, and it shines on the moon. So the moon can look really, really bright in the sky, but it's not making its own light. It's like a flashlight. If I shine a flashlight on a wall, it looks like the wall is bright, but it's not because the wall is lit up, it's because of the flashlight. So the moon is the same way. It doesn't make its own light. It is from the sun. So the moon looks bright because the sun is shining on it, and the sun is so bright. So the sun lights up the side of the moon that is facing it. So when the moon is on the other side of the earth, we're blocking the sun. So not as much of the moon is lit up, which is why we see different parts of the moon, why it looks like it changes shape during the month. Just because the moon, and like you see here, is going around the earth. So when the moon is on one side of the earth might block some of the sun. Just like if I had a flashlight and I put something in front of the flashlight, you wouldn't be able to see what's on the other side because my hand would be blocking the light from the flashlight. So the earth does that to the moon. It blocks some of that light sometimes, which is why the moon looks like different shapes. So the moon moves around the earth. We call this orbit. Okay, so it goes around the earth, and it takes about 28 days for the moon to go all the way around the earth. To make one trip all the way around, it takes about 28 days, which is close to our month. So just like we talked about, when the moon goes around, as it goes around its orbit, it goes around the earth, it looks different during the month. So sometimes the amount of light on the moon is a lot when we see the whole moon. Sometimes the earth is blocking most of the moon, so it might look dark. So these different shapes, this would be like a full moon because you can see all of it. This would be like you see most of the moon, but not all of it. So it would be like 3/4. You would see most of the moon, but you don't see all of the moon. And then this last one is called a crescent because it looks like a little crescent shape. So that is called a crescent moon. And it's when we just see a little sliver of the moon. So another object we see in the sky is the sun. The sun can look kind of different too sometimes, but it never changes. And it doesn't even move. The sun stays in the same place. So it looks different because of how Earth moves. So one way that Earth moves is by spinning. It just spins in a circle. So here you can see the Earth is spinning just like this soccer ball is spinning in the flashlight. So depending on how the Earth is spinning depends on where the sun hits it. So that's how we get our day and night. Because when we are on the side of the Earth that is away from the sun, it's dark, and so it's nighttime. When we're on the side of the Earth where we're facing the sun, that's when it's daytime and we see the sun. So the sun is not moving, even though it kind of looks like, when you look outside, you can see the sun, it looks like it's going up and coming down, but really it's because we are moving. So again, the Earth doesn't make its own light, just like the moon. We have light because the sun is shining on us, just like this soccer ball has light because of the flashlight shining on it. So one side of the Earth is always away from the sun, and the other side of the Earth is facing the sun. And then We constantly are spinning, so it switches. So, like I said, it looks like the sun rises and sets. If you notice, you can kind of watch that the sun looks like it's in different places of the sky during the day. But that is only because we are spinning, not because the sun is actually moving. So, that's what we're going to talk about, the objects in the sky. So we talked about the sun and the moon. And now we're going to talk about seasons. So seasons are parts of a year. So every year we have 4 seasons. The 4 seasons are winter, spring, summer, and fall. Fall is also called autumn. There's kind of 2 names for that one. So, and they always go in that order. Winter, spring, summer, fall. We'll always have spring after winter, and we'll always have summer after spring. Then we'll always have fall after summer, and we'll always have winter after fall. So they're always in that order. And they happen every year. Even though in Texas, our spring and fall are not very long, but we always have 4 seasons, and they are in that order. So why do we have seasons? Well, we have seasons because the earth, it's not straight up and down. It's kind of like this. It's tilted. And so I told you earlier that we spin. While we're spinning, we're going in a big circle around the sun. Kind of like the moon going around the earth. We go around the sun. So that is what determines our seasons. Because if we're close to the sun, it's going to be warmer. Just like if you get close to a fire, it's a lot warmer than if you're far away from a fire. So as we go around the sun, when we're closer to the sun, it'll be our summer. When we are farther away from the sun, it'll be winter because it's not as warm. We don't have as much heat from the sun. So the amount of sunshine and daylight that we get also depends on where we are around the sun. So like here, in the summer, they're getting a lot more sunshine. So they're going to have longer days, they have more sun in the sky, and it's going to be warmer. Whereas in the winter, you're away from the sun, so you don't get as much sunlight, which makes it colder. So, how are the seasons different? Well, each season has its own weather. And we talked about weather last week. Summer, as you know in Texas, summer is warm. It is the warmest season out of all 4 of the seasons. In Texas, summer is really hot. Okay, so summer is really, really hot, and then we go to fall. And fall is a little bit cooler than summer. So sometimes in fall, we might wear a light jacket, not a real heavy one. We might wear a sweater. We might wear something that has longer sleeves. We might wear pants a little bit more. So it's a little bit warmer or a little bit cooler than fall or than summer, but we're not quite to winter yet. So it's in between the hottest season, which is summer, and the coldest season, which is winter. So we're in that middle weather where it's not super hot, it's warm, but we're starting to get a little bit of a cooler weather. Then after fall is winter, and winter is the coldest season. It's when, for us, it's when we have Christmas. A lot of places up farther north, they might get snow. We've gotten snow a couple times in winter here in Texas. So winter, we might wear a big coat. You might wear boots, you might wear a hat, you might wear gloves, especially if it's snowing. So winter would be the coldest season. Then after winter is spring. A lot of times, spring is when we get most of our rain. Usually spring is when places get a lot of rain and it starts to warm up. So we were in winter where it's really cold. Spring is when we start to get a little bit of warmer weather. Starts to get where we can start wearing short sleeves, we can start wearing shorts. It's not quite as cold as winter. And then after spring comes summer again. And so we're back to summer when it's the hottest season. We're wearing shorts, we're wearing t-shirts, we're swimming, all of that kind of stuff. So daylight, we have the most daylight in summer, and we have the least amount of daylight in winter. So each season, in some places, each season is about 3 months, but they're not the same everywhere. Our seasons down here are very different than seasons if you go up north, where like Canada is. Seasons are different on different parts of the planet. So right here, we're in summer right now. Well, some countries, this is their winter because they are facing away from the sun. So every place doesn't have the same seasons at the same time, and their seasons are different. Our summer is much hotter than if you go up north to like Canada or some other states in the United States up north. Whereas their winter is much, much colder than our winter here. So the seasons are not all the same everywhere you go. And there is no start of the seasons. If you just you can pick which season you want to start in. They go in the same order, but they don't start, excuse me. There's no first season or last season because the earth just keeps going around the sun. So they just keep repeating. So they're always in the same order. It's always summer, fall, winter, spring. They're always in that pattern, but there's no first or last season. So the last thing I'm going to show you is your assignment for this week. You are going to make a little newspaper that shows all that you've learned about the weather and about the seasons. So you've been doing this spring weather report where you've been keeping track of what the weather has been like every day. So that needs to be part of your newspaper. And then you just need to show me something that you learned. So this person, this example, they made a day picture to show you what it looks like in the daytime, and they made a night picture to show you what it looks like in the nighttime. You could also do different pictures for different seasons. Down here at the bottom, some tips. Tell me some tips about when I go outside. They said when you go outside to wear sunscreen because it protects your skin. They reminded me that I might need to pack an umbrella if it's raining. You could remind me about if it's a certain temperature outside, what I might need to wear. If it's a different season, what are some things that I can do in that season? So you need to make a newspaper to show me that you have learned about weather and about seasons. So if you have any questions, make sure you contact your teacher about this newspaper, and I'm sure they are willing to help you. I hope you have had a great time learning about science this year, and have a good summer.